Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Come on in, come on in. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Please remember to swipe and share as you come on in. Come on in. This is Wonderful Wednesday. Wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Hey, Steph, how you doing? Yeah, so guys, just come on in. Make sure you swipe and you share as you come in. Yeah. So my name is Felicia Gibbons, and I am your number one joy jewel. I am here today to talk to my women, my mothers, daughters, caretakers, just to bring you out of that place of being overwhelmed to that place called joy. So again, like I said, when you come in, please make sure you swipe and you share. Let me turn my computer just a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, our title today is Do You Know Your Worth? And I'm sure you're probably saying, well, what does that have to do with joy? Let me tell you, it does. If you don't know your worth, then it has a lot to do with whether or not you walk in joy. You need to know, though, you need to know your worth. And so we have I have four. Nope, I have five. I have 5 things that you need to know about yourself in order for you to know your worth and to actually have joy. So the number one thing is that you need to have a positive self-esteem. Most of us women, we tend not to always have self-esteem, especially a positive self-esteem. And unfortunately, with the world that we have out here now, you have to look a certain way. You have to be a size 5. You have to have big boobs. You have to have a huge butt. You have to have long eyelashes. You got to have hair down to your butt. All of these fake things that people seem to think is beautiful. And if you don't have it, hi, how are you doing, Makiba? If you don't have those things, then guess what? Your self-esteem can be rather low. So, but I'm here to tell you, number one, that you're lovely, that you're beautiful. You're beautifully and you're wonderfully made. You don't have to look like anybody else, but you have to find your beauty within yourself. Find what makes you feel beautiful. Find what makes you look good. You don't have to look like anybody else. Secondly, recognize the difference that you make. Now, sometimes, especially as mothers, we don't always feel like we make a difference. Many times we feel like, we give our lives to our children, yet we give our lives to our jobs. And if you're married, sometimes you're giving your life to your husband. And, you don't always feel like you make a difference. And the truth be told, being a parent, majority of the time as parents, that is almost the most selfless job that there is. Because you give, and you don't always feel as though, number one, sometimes you don't feel like you're making a difference. And number two, you don't always, they don't always give it back to you. So it's a selfless job. It's a selfless job, but you have to recognize that you're making a difference. I don't care how your children are acting. I don't care, even the people that are in your family, sometimes, you don't feel like you're making a difference with them, but I want you to know that you are. You are definitely making a difference, whether that be positive or negative, and I hope that it's positive. You are making a difference. You make a difference by just being there. You make a difference by the smile that you have. You make a difference. So I want you all to know, all of my honorary joy jewels, I want you to know that you do make a difference. On your job, you're making a difference. And I know on those jobs, sometimes it doesn't seem like people care. You don't get the raise that you're looking for. You don't get the promotion that you're looking for after you've worked hard and you've done all of the things that they ask you to do, and you're still not rewarded for. But that's okay. Guess what? You're still making a difference. You are making a difference, and you have to know that on the inside. You have to know that to yourself. You have to say to yourself, I'm making a difference. When you wake up in the morning, I am making a difference. Yes, you are. You are making a difference. I don't care what's going on out there. You are making a difference. Thirdly, you have to see yourself as a peer. What does that mean? That means that you have to see yourself as being equal with other people. Because if you see yourself as below all the time, then guess what? Yeah, you don't know your worth. You don't know your worth. You have to see yourself as a peer. You have to know that the people that you are around, that you're just as important as they are. Because if you see yourself below them, then that actually goes back up to number one. You will not have a positive self-image for yourself if you do not see yourself as their peer. So that's very, very important that as the moms out there, see yourself as a peer. Don't look at yourself like, Johnny's mama came in and she brought a huge cake, and all you could do was maybe bring cookies. Guess what? Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference. She may have had the ability, for all you know, her mother could have made that cake. She might not have had to buy that cake. You don't know. So don't look at her as if she is way better than you are, or she, that she's above you. Don't look at her like that. So what? Maybe somebody has a PhD and you don't. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Guess what? They are still your peers. You still have everything that you need on the inside of you. You absolutely have that. So you don't ever look down on yourself. That's something that you cannot do. You can't do that, because if you do that, you start looking down on yourself, then guess what? You lose the joy. You won't have it. You will not have joy. So I need you to make sure that you are seeing yourself equal with everybody around you. I don't care if they have more than you or not. Guess what? They put their pants on the same way you put your pants on, okay? They get up out of the bed the same way you get up out of the bed. They get in the car the same way you get in the car. So because of that, you are equal with them. And you have to know that. The fourth thing is that you have to be clear about your values. Now, that can be a sticky situation sometimes, because sometimes, you get around certain people. Oh, I got this certain set of values for those folks over there, and I got another set of values for those people over there. And then you just torn and all messed up. You don't know whether you're coming or going. Well, I'm here to tell you, have the same values no matter where you are, no matter who you are around. Keep the same set of values. That is important. It's important because it keeps you at a level place, which also means that as you're at that level place, you're able to gravitate or pull the joy up out of yourself, because you're not all over the place. When you're all over the place, you can't pull the joy out. You can't let it flow. You absolutely can't let it flow, because there's a blockage, because, oh, I'm like this over here, and I'm like this over there, and I'm like this over here, and I'm like that. No. Let your values be the same no matter where you are. Hey, Adon, how are you? No matter where you are, let your values be the same. Don't be swayed by people who have more money than you do. Don't be swayed by people that have more education than you do. Don't be swayed by that. You still have your same value system. And I promise you, if you're like that, people will look at you and say, they'll have a trust in you, because they'll know that you're not going to sway from the left to the right. They're going to, they're going to know that. So you need to make sure that you stay in a place of levelty when it comes to your values. Thank you, Adon. You're so sweet. Thank you for the hearts. So again, I want you to make sure that you keep your values clear. You have to keep your values clear. The fifth and actually the final thing for tonight is that you believe that you are good enough. Now, I know some of us women, when we don't know our worth, we don't believe that we're good enough for anything. We don't believe that we're good enough to buy that $50 pair of shoes compared to that $25 pair of shoes. We don't feel like we're good enough to go on that trip. We don't feel like we're good enough to be with a certain man. We don't feel like we're good enough to achieve whatever it is that we have on our heart to achieve, because we have that low self-esteem, because we don't know our worth. Look here, when you know your worth, then you recognize that whatever it is that God has for you is for you. And guess what? You are good enough for it, no matter where you are. No matter what you're doing, you are good enough for it. You don't have to, God looks at us and he says, what is for Felicia is for Felicia. And she is good enough because I said so. And when you begin to believe that, honey, right there, that place, that causes you to have a place of joy. But you have to know your worth. So my mothers, my sisters, my aunties, my caregivers, all of you women out there, I need you to know your worth. And when you know your worth, like I said, you're able to have such a greater level of joy. It absolutely coincides. It coincides knowing your worth and having joy. Knowing your worth and having joy. Because if you don't know your worth, all of the things that we talked about, having a positive self-esteem, you won't have it. Recognizing that you make a difference. How can you? You won't see yourself as a peer. You see yourself as beneath everyone. You won't have a clear set of values. You're tossed and turned to and fro all over the place. And you won't believe that you're good enough for anything. So I need you to know your worth. It is important that you know your worth. In order to be a joy jewel that is shining brightly, you have got to know your worth. So I want you again to sit back and think about those things. Just kind of mull them over as you go to sleep, before you go to sleep tonight, and think about it. Do I really know my worth? Do I really have positive self-esteem about myself? Yeah, I may be, 50 pounds overweight, but do I still think I look good? Now, for me, let me tell you, I think I look good. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I still think I look good. Yes, I do. And you have to recognize that you make a difference. And I will tell you that it has taken me a while to sometimes recognize that. But I do know that I make a difference. I make a difference in a lot of people's lives. And sometimes it absolutely floors me. I do it so effortlessly that I don't always recognize that I'm making a difference in people's lives. But when you have people come back and tell you that, this that you did or this that you said, it changed my life. And people come back to me and they said, something that you said to me 15 years ago or 20 years ago. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even really remember that. But guess what? It made a difference. So I made a difference. And it really wasn't me. It's the God that's in me. So I have to give him all the glory, all the honor, and the praise. But it's the God that's in me that makes the difference. And you have to see yourself as a peer. So again, see yourself as being just as good as everybody else that is around you. No matter what their status is, I need you to make sure that you see yourself on the same level as they are. Because guess what? We all humans, not unless they some type of an alien or something. If they're not an alien, then guess what? You should be on the same level with them. And again, please make sure that you are clear about your values. And lastly, believe that you are good enough. Believe that you are good enough for the best that God has for you. So that is actually the end of my broadcast for tonight. please make sure that you go out to bit.ly/cultivating joy to join our community of women who are learning how to walk in joy. Okay, so that is the end of it for tonight. I thank you so much for being with me. Thank you, my sisters from LSU. I love you guys, and I will see you guys on Friday. Good night. What'd you say, Rebecca?